Hello and a very good evening to you. You're watching Saints Live with me, Kenzie, Benali.
And me, Steve Forbes.
And a very warm welcome to a rather chilly St Mary's Stadium, where tonight Southampton host Brentford in the Premier League, and another night awaits us under the lights, Steve.
It does, yeah. The gloves are very much needed tonight, Kenzie. Hopefully this evening game is going to be rocking here at St Mary's. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, as am I. And despite their league position, Southampton's form has improved, picking up 4 points in their last two matches, form that Ruben Sellers will be hoping his men can continue tonight. And joining us throughout the evening is former Saints captain Dean Hammond and MVC's lead soccer writer Joe Prince-Wright. Great to see you both as always. Joe, how are you?
Doing great, guys. A couple of good results since the last time I joined you, so really excited to see if Saints can build on that. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the atmosphere is like at St Mary's as well, because these night games under the lights, entering a really pivotal stage of the season, so I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah, really looking forward to it too. Dean, you excited for kick-off?
I am, Kenzie. I am. It's like Joe said, it's a big opportunity for the players to get out of that bottom three. I think, what bigger incentive do you need? So looking forward to the game, and I'm sure the players are, the fans are, and hopefully it'll be a good night for Southampton.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Well, the team news will be coming up in less than 15 minutes' time. We know that Juan Larios and Tino Livramento are still out, whilst Ainsley Maitland-Niles is having a late fitness test. Now, Joe, do you see any changes being made to the squad tonight, given the quick turnaround from Sunday's match at Old Trafford, or do you think Ruben will stick with the same lineup?
Well, Steve, I think it's been pretty solid, hasn't it, this lineup for the last few weeks now. We kind of know what to expect. There's relationships building, especially in defence. I wonder with Maitland-Niles, if he is fit enough and does come through that fitness test, does he come back in for Perrault maybe, and Walker-Peters goes to left back? That's an option, right? I mean, you just have to keep rotating and keep the energy high the way Saints are playing at the moment with the high pressing. I think maybe another switch we could maybe see is someone like Stuart Armstrong coming in, maybe for Theo Walcott, who, of course, has been really important in recent weeks, but he hasn't played a lot this season, so it might be a big ask for him to play against Man United midweek, and then obviously play again at the weekend against Spurs. So I think we might just see a little bit of rotation, but for the most part, I think it will be really key to keep these players and this unit together, because it's working so well. There's a cohesiveness about Saints at the moment. There's an understanding, it seems, when players have the ball, who's around them, what do I do? And they've been building that up over the last few weeks. Some of the players starting right now might not be players that you would expect to be in these starting roles, but they've taken their opportunities in recent weeks. And I really like the chemistry in this team. So if there are any changes, Steve, I think there should just be a couple, and that's probably with a busy week in mind.
Dean, how do you expect the Saints to line up this evening?
I agree with Joe, really. I think it'll be consistency, really, in the team selection has been a big factor in why we're winning games, and the performances have really improved. So I don't think there'll be too many changes. If there is any changes, maybe in the attacking areas. I think defensively, and especially in the midfield areas, we've been excellent, and that's why we're keeping clean sheets. So I can't see that changing, really. I think the three midfield players are really complementing each other. They're playing so well together in terms of on and off the ball. They're protecting the back four. They're very good in possession, and we're creating chances from the midfield players. So I think really 3 days is a big enough turnaround. I think that's enough time, personally. If it had been Tuesday, I think there maybe have been some more changes, but playing on a Wednesday night, you know, in the modern game, with the sports science now, players get enough chance to recover. They get enough rest. And I'm sure the manager would have understood that, and training would have been very light for the last couple of days in preparation for what it is for a big game tonight. But I would love to see the same team, because I think the intensity has been better. We're creating more chances. We're better to watch. We're exciting to watch again. The performances have been better. The results have been better. And I'm sure the players just want to continue that theme, continue getting points on the board, continue keeping those clean sheets. It looks like the players are really determined to keep those clean sheets. So, yeah, I think a very similar team tonight, but there could be maybe 1 or 2 changes in the attacking areas.
Well, let's turn the clocks back slightly to Sunday's 0-0 draw with Manchester United at Old Trafford. Now, there's been conflicting opinions on whether Casemiro's challenge on Charlie Alcaraz deserved a red card. Joe, Franny and Dean on the day said that it definitely did deserve a red. What's your opinions on that?
Well, I've seen Franny and Dean go into enough tackles over the years to say if they think it's a red card, then it definitely is a red card, in my opinion. And I do think it is, aside from that. It's reckless. He gets a little touch on the ball as he makes the tackle. But I mean, if you look at the position of his foot when we see the close-up, studs are facing up, his foot is up, facing Alcaraz's leg. I think he's really lucky he doesn't basically break Alcaraz's leg there. With more force and from a different angle, I think it could have been really nasty. It could have, like this angle here, that the foot is in a very unnatural position and a dangerous position. You always say when you go into a tackle, if your studs are showing, then that's dangerous, and that's a telltale sign that referees look for. So I don't really understand the complaints from Erik ten Hag or United's fans. I think it's clearly a red card, and Casemiro was devastated. He felt like he let his team down. And I always try and look at it from the other side, Steve. And as a Saints fan, if Lavia or Ward-Prowse would have made that kind of tackle in midfield and got a red card, I really don't think I'd had any complaints with that. So it's an unlucky one. I don't think it was overly malicious, but the position of his foot, the way he slid in, I just think you had to give a red card in that situation. And obviously for Man United, it was very disappointing. It helped Saints out as well. But I just don't have any other conclusion other than that was a perfectly legitimate red card.
Well, despite what our experts think, Erik ten Hag certainly was critical of that decision to send off Casemiro, and Ruben Selles was also asked about it in his press conference.
Casemiro, everyone outside of people who support Man United and work for Man United agreed that it was a red card. Were you surprised by ten Hag's reaction to it?
Well, I mean, we all have our thoughts and we have our reaction. I was more surprised that everybody speak about the red card and don't talk about our performance. That was the biggest point for me. I think nobody praised us to make that competitive game 11 against 11, to play face-to-face against Manchester United in Old Trafford, to have chances to win that game. I think we were good, we performed well. And I think the history of Casemiro and all the things around that game went into that way. But I got the performance of my team, and I think generally has not been fair with how we played that game. So I will not comment about what Eric or anybody from Manchester United did. I will just say we did a good game, we did a good performance, and that counts for me.
Well, Ruben obviously keen to talk about the performance there. He was obviously very pleased, wasn't he? And Dean, I know you were particularly impressed by Gavin Bazunu in goal.
I was, Kenzie. Like I said, I think it's his best performance in a Southampton shirt. He rose to the occasion, and he put a really, really good performance in on the day. And I think he's maturing with the more games that he gets. What I liked about him is his saves as well. That save there from Rashford, it's the strength and the power in his hand to get it out of danger, really. I love the fact that he's sensing danger, you know, the quickness of his decision-making, the quickness of his feet to get out to that through ball. His decision-making, really. He looks like he's trusting himself now. He's really positive in that decision, comes and clears it. And that save just before half-time from that chance at the back is brilliant, because if you look at his technique, he's ready. He's ready to make a save. He's anticipating that he's going to make a save. He makes himself really big and difficult to beat. And then the save from Fernandes is a match-winning save, really, because at that moment, Southampton were really on top. They'd had a lot of possession. He didn't have a lot to do, but he comes up with a world-class save. And you see it from different angles. There's curl on it, there's dip on it, and that bounce just in front of him just builds that momentum of the speed. And it's such a good touch. And he deserves that luck, you know, to go onto the post and to go away from goal, because you can see if he doesn't get a bigger touch as he does, that hits the post and goes in. So a brilliant save from him, and another clean sheet. That's 3 clean sheets in 4 games for him, which is brilliant, and brilliant for Southampton as well. They're not only clean sheets, but they're clean sheets against Chelsea, they're clean sheets against Leicester, and clean sheets against Manchester United, which are all big teams and teams that possess really good attacking players. So that will do his confidence the world of good. I thought it was a really, really good performance. And Defensively, as a team, we were good. I've mentioned midfield players. The back four were very, very good as well. And when you've got a goalkeeper behind you that can make those saves, it gives you belief. It gives you confidence that you can keep clean sheets and you can win games. So there's been big improvements in Gavin Bazunu, and long may it continue, because he's a young man and he's learning his training. For a goalkeeper, he's very, very young. So he put a very good performance in.
Well, there's a bit of love for Gavin coming in on our social channels tonight, Kenzie. Saints fans have been getting in touch. Vishnal says he thinks there's going to be another clean sheet for Big Baz. He thinks there's going to be a 1-0 scoreline to Southampton, with Sulemana getting the goal. Steve Bevan says, come on Saints, it would be a massive 3 points tonight if we could get them. Let's try and build on the last few games. Enderbolt's confident. He thinks there's going to be 5-0 to Southampton tonight. He's got in on YouTube. Also, Vincent Milsom says it's a must-win game. Come on, you Saints. And also Nick Jordan on Facebook. Good luck, lads. Let's do this. Now, Joe, Jan Bednarek's a player who seems to have become a staple under Ruben. What did you make of his performance up at Old Trafford, and what does he offer to this Southampton side?
Yeah, well, Big Baz was great, and Yanni B was great as well. I mean, his performance since he came back has really been surprising. I think when we saw him come back into the team, maybe it was as a backup. No one really expected him to come straight in and be the main man. But as we're seeing here, very aggressive defender, steps high. And this kind of quality we're seeing here, this challenges that he's making, it works really well with Walcott, who's very good at sweeping in behind and using his speed to cover. So it gives Jan that ability to be really aggressive on the step, attack the ball, and make it difficult for opposing forwards to hold the ball up. So as a partnership, it's worked really well. And, you know, he said this week that maybe he said a bit too much when he left for Villa on loan at the start of the season. Maybe, you know, reading between the lines, maybe a bit unhappy with Ralph Hasenhüttl and wanted a bit of a change himself. And sometimes that just happens with a player and manager, maybe see the game a bit differently. Stuff gets a bit stale. He's been at the club for a long time. So, you know, maybe that just didn't actually the world of good to go away on loan for a few months and realise, actually, it was a pretty good deal at Saints and I really enjoyed playing there. So, you know, a few years ago, in my role of NBC, I was lucky enough to spend an afternoon with him. And what a determined, focused and driven character he is. He's really humble, but it's hard not to be inspired when you chat with him. He talks like he's a very good pro, and he's so serious, and you kind of want to just play alongside him, I think, whenever you speak to him. And it's easy to forget as well that he's had a lot of experience. He's only 26 years of age, which is pretty young for a centre-back who has this many Premier League seasons under his belt, playing for the Polish national team. And what we saw in a lot of those clips is him shouting, gesticulating, and just organising. And I think such a young Saints team this season, they need players who have a lot of experience. And Bednarek has that in the Premier League. So, yeah, unexpectedly, a very, very good return for him. And a lot of Saints fans, I think, will be praising him and saying, you know what, fair play to him. He's come back in from a loan spell. It didn't work out. He's knuckled down. He's obviously taken it very seriously. And he is very committed to the cause. And you can see that in his performances. And I think the way he's helping out the youngsters around him, I really like that.
Dean, if we can just have a brief chat on Theo Walcott. I mean, he's going to be kicking himself, isn't he, that he wasn't able to get on the score sheet at the weekend. A couple of big chances. What did you make of those and his overall performance?
I thought it was a mature performance, Kenzie. He looked really, really bright, really energetic. But I think slightly he will be kicking himself. Just with the header more than anything. I think it's brilliant. Look, he shows all his qualities in this, his experience, his positioning, his intelligence, the way he goes behind Luke Shaw, and then he knows when he anticipates the cross coming in. He shows a real attacking instinct. He just gets too good a contact on the header, really, and needs to head it down a little bit more. It's a very, very good save. And then the other opportunity he has is, you know, it's Theo Walcott is his best. He's really, really good at running behind. Very, very good player running behind. Anticipates that. And the chance he gets where he breaks one-on-one is Theo Walcott is best. But probably Theo Walcott is best 3 or 4 years ago. And he just needs to cut across Martinez. But unfortunately, just the ball gets stuck under his feet. Still a good strike with his left foot. We're seeing it now. And De Gea makes a very, very good save. But that second touch, if you can just cut across him there, he's on his right foot and he can probably just pass that into the net. And then the last chance on the break that he has, I think that's just down to fatigue, really. He breaks,
Dean,
he's
as
striking,
ever, I'm
he's looking for a
so
run.
sorry to interject and interrupt you, but we do have to bring the team news to the viewers now. It is on your screen. You can see the Southampton starting 11. 2 changes from Sunday's draw at Old Trafford. Moi Elianusi and Ibrahima Diallo coming in for Theo Walcott and Romeo Lavia. Ainsley Maitland-Niles still out. So let's take a look at the team in full now then, shall we? In goal, it's Gavin Bazunu. The back four, Carl Walker-Peters, Jan Bednarek, Armel Bella-Kotchap and Roman Perro. In the middle of the park, it's Ibrahima Diallo, Charlie Alcaraz and our captain, James Ward-Prowse. Then it's Moi Elianusi, Kamaldeen Sulemana, and completing the 11 is Shay Adams. Looking at the Saints substitutes then, Willie Caballero, Mohamed Salisu, James Bree, Romeo Lavia, Stuart Armstrong, Theo Walcott, Sekou Mara, Paul Onuachu and Adam Armstrong. Dean, I do apologise for interrupting you there, so let's come to you first for your thoughts on that 11. No real surprises. You said it would likely be either the same 11 or minimal changes. That's what we're seeing tonight. Can this team do the business against Brentford this evening?
I think it definitely can, Kenzie. I think the balance of the team is very, very good. I think it will be the same shape. I suppose the only surprise is Lavia that is not playing, but that could be down to the fact of the injuries he's had this season. And is it, the game comes a little bit too quick for him, or has the manager got the game in Saturday in mind? Maybe that game would suit him a little bit more against Tottenham. Diallo comes in and very competitive. We'll try and win the ball back. He's aggressive, a little bit more physical than Lavia. Maybe that's the approach that he thinks he needs in the central midfield. Elianusi coming in for Theo Walcott. Maybe a natural decision, like Joe mentioned. Theo, maybe the game again comes a little bit too quick for him, but I think he can have an impact off the bench. Elianusi comes in and he gives you that player from midfield who can get into the box, who can get you a goal. He's very, very good at that. Brings you a lot of energy, very, very fit, and defensively very, very good as well. Because tonight, I think against Brentford, you're going to have to win second balls. You're going to have to do the dirty side of the game before you'll be able to express yourself and go and create chances. And the 2 players coming in can definitely do that. They can really, really do that. And they can affect the game and affect the team with that quality they have. So, like you say, no big surprises. Just maybe for me, I think Lavia not playing is the only surprise in my mind.
Joe, your thoughts on that starting 11?
Yeah, as Dean mentioned there, I think maybe the injuries to both Theo and Romeo Lavia throughout this season, it's just a bit of protection for them. I think having 3 big games in the space of a week. So yeah, I like Diallo coming in. I think that he's great in these situations where, as Dean mentioned, you need to be solid defensively. And having watched Brentford closely this season, they do like to spring runners from midfield, be very direct. So if Ibrahima can just sit in front of the back four there and just plug those little gaps that Brentford like to play it up to Tony and Buemo very quickly, then that will be a really good sign. And he scored, right, against Brentford last season as well. So maybe this is just he suits playing against them quite well. I don't know. I'm just chucking that in there. But I think it makes sense with Elianusi's energy playing in a wide role. A little bit surprised Stuart Armstrong didn't start, but we know he's very good coming off the bench. And again, Stuart's had a few injuries this season, so maybe he's not right at it to start right now. But some really good options on the bench that I like. And I think it's going to be key managing the situation, as Ruben Sellers has done really well so far. Maybe a couple of changes on the hour mark with Lavia, Theo, and another forward coming on. So yeah, it's a good solid squad and continuity. Like we said, back four, midfield, goalkeeper, Shay Adams up top. I like it. I like this.
Now, Dean, it does feel like a lifetime ago, but it's only been 39 days since we played Brentford away. So much has changed. What are your reflections of that day and also what's happened since?
A disappointing day, Steve, in reflection. But in all honesty, I think it was a bad moment for the players, for the club. I think it comes off the back of the disappointing result at Newcastle, going out in the semi-final. Maybe there was a hangover from that. The players, there was some pressure with a strange atmosphere at the football club, with the pressure on the manager at the time. And I think that affected the players. Maybe the players not quite understanding what the manager wanted at the time, or not believing in what the manager wanted at the time. But if you break it down, I think on the day, Brentford just had a little bit more desire, a little bit more know-how, and just were better in those individual moments. Those one-on-one duels, I think they came out on top, which is when you play like a team against Brentford, very physical, very direct, very organised. The one-on-one duels are so important. You need to win those tackles. You need to win those second balls. And on the day, Brentford did the basics so well. They've got a fantastic home record. So it was always going to be a difficult game. But I think those things have changed now. If you look at the last 4 performances, there's a togetherness within the group. There's a spirit again. There's an understanding of how the manager wants to play. And I think the players want to play that way as well. They want possession football. They want to be able to create chances. They want to play with that energy and press as a team and play higher up the pitch and not be quite as direct. And I think that has changed. I think we're defending set pieces better. We're defending crosses better, which was a problem against Brentford in this defeat. And we need to be very, very good at that tonight. But the biggest thing, I think there's just a better spirit and a better feeling around the football club. And that's not blaming anyone. That's just the reality of the situation. I think that's what changed. And obviously results be confidence, belief, and they change everything. So we're on a good run at the moment. The players look happy, but it's going to be a tough game tonight. And the players need to continue this form and continue the effort that they're putting in. That's the main thing. The effort and the energy they're showing, that needs to continue tonight and for the rest of the season.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Brentford have actually only played 4 matches since that defeat at the start of February. 1 win, 2 draws, and last weekend's 1-0 defeat to Everton. Joe, what do you make of Brentford and the lofty position they seem to be finding themselves in?
I think they totally deserve to be in this position, Kenzie. I mean, they're focused on what they're good at, and they do it very, very well. They pin teams in, whip in a lot of crosses, play direct. They're very good at set pieces. And I watched the full 90 minutes of their game against Everton at the weekend, and I'm really not sure how they lost that game 1-0. They were all over Everton in the second half, and they were really, really dominant. So Thomas Frank has done a fine job. I've been lucky enough to go to Brentford a lot, and the whole club is together, the fans, the players. There's a real unity about what they're doing there. And obviously close links with Saints, with Rasmus's past with Brentford, and all those connections. And I just want to give a bit of hope, though, for Saints fans. I found a few stats here. Brentford have never won a midweek game in the Premier League since they got promoted. So it's 7 games they played on a Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday and never won. And they only have 2 wins in 12 away games this season. So like Dean said, they're very good at home, but they aren't as good away from home. So, yeah, I guess the biggest compliment I can give to Brentford is that I would love for Saints to try and replicate their success, their model in the transfer market, what they're doing in the coming years, because I think pretty much if you look out there and ask any fan of any Premier League team, I think Brentford is their favourite second team over the last few seasons. They are very exciting to watch. They go for it in games. Rarely they're involved in boring games. It always seems to be exciting when they're playing. And yeah, like I said, there's a real togetherness and a spirit about them, which makes them a very dangerous team. And they're chasing European qualification, which is incredible for a club of their size and a club that's just in their 2nd season in the Premier League. So, yeah, there's a lot to like about Brentford right now.
Well, let's see how the Southampton fans are feeling now watching in from home. Arpad Jordan said Ruben is making good sense to me. Damien Bolton says he's on his way to the stadium. Come on, you Reds. Wes Cox on Facebook, 4 points minimum from the next 2 games. St. Rob says a 2-0 win to Southampton tonight. Phil Palmer on YouTube has said we need 3 points tonight because we'll find it even more tricky to get anything from Spurs. We don't want to get cut adrift. Mark Biaxi says it's a tough game tonight. Be happy with a draw and a clean sheet. Also, Matthew Payne on Facebook says 2-1 Saints, and Phil Hampton on Facebook says 4-0 would be nice. Well, Dean, the last time Brentford played here at St Mary's, Saints did score 4 in a 4-1 win. Was that just a match where everything clicked for Southampton?
It was a great night, Steve. I remember it very, very well, and it was the first game of the new ownership. So I'm sure the manager, Ralph, at the time wanted to put a performance on. The players did. A goal from a set piece, which is so important in any game of football at any level. If you can score goals from set pieces, it's important. It gives you an advantage. reacting from disappointment from Brentford coming back into the game. But the first half, Southampton were excellent. They really, really were. They played with high energy. They pressed Brentford, good possession of the ball. Diallo scoring a very, very good goal. I'm going to give it to him. I know it comes off the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper is very unfortunate. But as a midfield player, when we don't score many goals, you take every one. And it's a lovely, lovely strike, and just an important goal at that time. And then in the second half, this pass from Oyarama was exquisite, brilliant. And the run from Brozier is fantastic as well. A little bit like Theo Walcott at the weekend, but Brozier actually gets across his man now, which gives him that extra time to have that extra touch. And it's a lovely finish. He's a fantastic talent. He really, really was. And then the bravery and strength of Shay Adams at the end, with the willingness to run in behind, which I think, again, will be important tonight against this Brentford defence. So a really good night for Southampton, and a really, really good result. And if we can replicate that tonight, which we will need to, but the performance had a lot. It had good moments of possession, aggressive with and without the ball, lots of goals, lots of excitement. And it was a great start to the new ownership. So if we can get a result like that tonight, I'm not saying we're going to get 4 goals, then it will put us in an excellent position.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, Joe, we are actually the only team in the bottom 8 to play this evening. If we win, we will move up to 16th, which will really set a marker for the teams with a game in hand who will have to go on and win it. It feels like a really big opportunity for Saints tonight.
Yeah, Kenzie, I don't want to go too big on this because there's still a long way to go in the season, but psychologically, I think this could be perhaps the biggest moment in Saints' season if they do manage to win. I mean, a few weeks ago, obviously it was looking a little bit grim, you'd have to say, could be cut adrift. But the last few results, I mean, 7 points from the last 12 available, 3 clean sheets in 4. And you're just this feeling that the team is organised now and understands and really enjoys doing the dirty side of the game and defending as a group and a unit. So, and again, if they keep a clean sheet tonight, I looked back, it'd be the first time they've had 3 in a row in the Premier League since the end of December 2020 and the start of January 2021. So that's a long old time that they haven't been able to do that. So that's been the key to the success. Defensively, much, much better. And now it's all about one thing for me. Who can be the hero? Who's going to score the goals and create the chances to make the most of this newfound solidity that they have defensively? And I mean, yeah, again, I mentioned it at the top, psychologically, after spending so many months in the bottom 3, moving out of it tonight, I think it would just be huge for the players, the staff, the fan base, and everyone connected with the club, and really give them a boost ahead of what's going to be a big, big final few months of the season. So yeah, hopefully positive vibes will be flowing at the end of this game tonight.
Well, I hate to be the pessimist of the group, but on the flip side, if we do lose tonight, then we'd be bottom of the table, having played a game more than the others around us. So that wouldn't really be looking great, Dean. How important is it that we get a win tonight?
It's important, Steve. There's no shying away from it. Joe's just mentioned it's a huge game of football, but I don't think you need to shy away from that, if I'm honest. I think it's good to mention it and good for the players to really understand the importance of it. And they've worked so hard over the last few weeks to get themselves in the position, because let's be honest, everyone outside of Southampton has written Southampton off. They expect them to get relegated, but the recovery they've shown has been brilliant, and they've given themselves an opportunity to get out of the bottom 3. So I look at it the other way. It's an opportunity that if we win tonight, the pressure the other teams are going to feel, the fact that, okay, we'd written Southampton off. Now they're back in the picture. They're not only fighting for their lives, they're out of the relegation battle. We mentioned at the weekend what a big week this is. And it's a brilliant week that started with a point at Old Trafford. Yes, potentially we could have won it, but a point at Old Trafford is so valuable. If we can get a result tonight, that's 4 points already this week. You go into the Tottenham game then thinking, okay, if we get a point here or even a win, what position we'd be in. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but then that takes you into the international break with 10 games of the season left, where we're almost on a recovery. So the atmosphere around the dressing room, the atmosphere around the training ground, the atmosphere around the stadium, between the fans, everyone associated with Southampton will feel very, very different to other clubs that have been sucked into this now. Their energy will be low. It feels as though we're thriving at the moment on this pressure. So it's going to be a difficult game tonight. I am not taking this for granted at all. And we have to be at our best, which will have to be in every game to the end of the season. But if we can get a win tonight, what a brilliant position this puts it in. Because the teams at the weekend as well have got difficult fixtures. I was looking at them earlier. You know, Nottingham Forest have got Newcastle at the weekend. Bournemouth are going to Aston Villa. Brentford are playing Leicester at the weekend, and Chelsea Everton. So a result tonight will put these teams under pressure because they'll be thinking, we need to win at the weekend now to get us back out of this position. So important tonight. And I wouldn't shy away from that if I was the manager or the players.
Well, Dean, just stressing there that tonight will be a difficult match. The players do need to be at their best, but it is that time of the show where we come to you and press you for your score predictions and your final thoughts ahead of kick-off. Joe, you've given us some fantastic facts throughout the evening, which has certainly boosted my optimism. I was already feeling positive anyway, but what are you feeling ahead of the match this evening? How do you think this one's going to end?
Yeah, I love something Dean said there, Kenzie, about they're thriving right now in this position. And I think a lot of these Saints players now almost playing with nothing to lose because, as we mentioned, everyone had written them off. There's a lot of young players there playing without fear. Whereas you look at teams around them, they maybe have that bit of fear going into the relegation scrap and getting sucked into it. So I think Saints are in a really good position. And I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. I think Brentford create a lot of problems, whip a lot of crosses in, but Saints are defending a lot better. I think tonight is the night that they really put away some of those chances on the break that they've had in recent games. So yeah, a 2-1 win for Southampton.
Okay, 2-1 for Joe. Dean, what about you? I mean, it really feels like a huge incentive, the thought of ending the day outside of the relegation zone. How do you see this one going?
I think that's all the players will need, Kenzie. That incentive to get out of this relegation zone is so important. Like I've mentioned, and I'm repeating myself, tough game tonight. Brentford are a very, very good team. I know they've not won as many games on the road, but they're still a good team. But I'm going to go for a Southampton 1-0 win. I want that clean sheet again. You know, I'm buzzing off these clean sheets at the moment because that's where success is built. We're not scoring as many goals as we could do, but we're creating more chances. We need to be a little bit more ruthless, but I think it's going to be a really good, solid display from Southampton and a 1-0 win.
Fantastic stuff. Well, Dean, Joe, it's time to let you go, partly because I've lost sensation in my toes, but also we have to wrap things up. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll speak to you again in a little bit. Well, not long to go now until kick-off here at chilly St Mary's under the lights as Southampton take on Brentford. A crucial 3 points for the Saints would lift them out of the relegation zone. Either way, we'll all be back on the final whistle for post-match reaction and analysis. Enjoy the game, and we'll see you then.
Bye for now.